eZWay Network presents your favorite stars. From the positive paparazzi, we're doing it the easy way. It's your celebritunity to red carpet access. From interviews that matter, from celebrities, influencers, and entrepreneurs, networking you for your success. Eric Zuli gives his fans, eZWay family, eZWay TV subscribers, social media followers, eZWay supporters, the best of Eric Zuli interviews.
Hey guys, what's going on? All right, so we are about to go live with a friend of mine and one of our eZWay Wall of Famers, Don Green. I know you guys have been waiting for this. Make sure that you do me a favor and press the watch party button. Let's all start some watch parties. Let's press the share button. Let's get this out. We're going to learn some great stuff. This is eZWay Live that you're watching. We are going to give you guys a lot of opportunity to actually collectively share your comments and your questions with this influencer. We call it the digital handshake effect. And we're really excited to have Don Green on board and to be able to interview him for you guys. Remember, guys, the Napoleon Hill Foundation is responsible for the thinking, is in conjunction with the Think and Grow Rich books, the Outwitting the Devils, all the books that have helped you guys, grow. And we're going to really get into the nitty gritty, get into the story. We're pretty excited. So you're watching eZWay Live, and the show is about to start. You're watching eZWay TV, powered by eZWayNetwork.com.
Three great influencers have joined forces to create a space for you to be the expert, get credibility, and be a best-selling author. Get acquainted with the eZWay Wall of Famers and reach a celebrity status with eZWay Publishing, powered by NLCP. Get seen on the cover with eZWay Wall of Fame celebrity influencers. Get the credibility you deserve by being a published author, best-selling status guaranteed. Increase your credibility, maximize your presence affordably and effectively. Enjoy your new life with eZWay Publishing. Are you looking to accelerate your influence? eZWayWall.com is a new site that allows you to promote yourself, business, brand, and your products as an influencer. You can share your ideas, receive comments, promote and brand yourself with the power of affiliation. Associate yourself and your brand with the power players of today to become leaders of tomorrow. Come and join the eZWay Wall today. Sign up at wall.eZWayBroadcasting.com or text eZWay Wall to 55678.
All right, guys, so without further ado, we're going to go ahead and bring in our special guest. And I want you guys to remember to share this broadcast. And this is an engaging, an interactive show. We do this for you guys, okay? We do this for you guys so you can get your chance to escalate, to evolve, to accelerate your influence and your way of making a difference. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and bring in Mr. Don Green. Hey Don, how you doing? Welcome to eZWay Live. Thank you so much for being on the show. And how you feeling, brother?
I'm great, Eric, and it's I appreciate you bringing me on. We can maybe share some of our message, and maybe we can help somebody out.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. And so Don, this is a very live and interactive show. This is a very it's meant to really help influencers like yourself meet up with the fans, and they're going to be commenting like you see right there. That's Schroeder. And by the way, that's Schroeder Nordholt. He's actually one of our composers. So shout outs to Schroeder for the awesome music that you guys are hearing in the background here. And so Don, we're going to definitely get right into it. And before we start, I actually have a special guest that we both know. Shout outs to Greg Reed. And Greg Reed actually went to your facility. And we wanted to play this video actually and kind of show you guys a little bit about the the facility and the behind the scenes and the history of the Napoleon Hill Foundation. We'll be right back.
Imagine having the opportunity to step into the mind of the late, great Napoleon Hill. Hello, everybody. We're right here at the headquarters of the Napoleon Hill Foundation with the CEO himself, Don Green, who's going to give us a private behind-the-scenes tour, a journey, so to speak, of what it was like to walk a day in this great man's shoes. First of all, thanks for letting us take a look. And I got to say, there's amazing things around here. And I was looking around the shelves, and I happened to find this. A Think and Grow Rich book, but more importantly, it's one autographed by the man himself. I guess you don't have too many of these laying around, do you?
We got a few of them. He signed these. As you can see, it's still got the advertising piece in it. It was from the archives. Hill died in 1970, so he signed a bunch of them before he passed away. I think it's interesting about him is that people don't realize, but his name was actually Oliver Napoleon Hill, and he did his first writings as Oliver, even when he went to work for Bob Taylor. And he dropped the Oliver and just started going by Napoleon Hill. By the time he published his first magazines in 1919, he was strictly going as just Napoleon Hill.
These little blue books right here, would you share with everyone what those are?
Yeah. When he was working in Atlanta, Georgia, in human resources for a company called Lee Torno, he worked for them because they were trying to unionize. They were having personnel problems, and they hired him in human resources. He wrote a book, 17 of them, on the principle of success, and he refers to them in his writings as mental dynamite.
Now, one of the greatest releases that the foundation's put out in its generation is Outwitting the Devil. I mean, it's been an international success story with Sharon, but I guess this is the original manuscript that it came from.
That's it.
So this is what he actually typed with his hands.
Manual typewriter.
Wow, one finger at a time, like by the way I do it.
No L.B. Smith typewriter.
Absolutely amazing. This must be priceless. Well, I got to tell you, when I was going through a lot of the different gems you have here, this has got to be my all-time favorite. In fact, I think I might even sneak this one out when I get out of here. This right here is one of the Think and Grow Rich editions where they were making some changes to it, as you told me. And he actually went through and made his personal notes of what could be left in and what should be left out. I mean, this is just absolutely a priceless gem.
That is just that was just incredible. I mean, you have so much of a history there, Don, and let's get right into it. So honestly, you got the opportunity to become the executive director, the CEO of one of the biggest. I mean, Napoleon Hill has been such a legend, and he's been able to make so many changes in so many lives with so many different books. I'd love to just get in, right into your story, Don, and how you got that position and how you got that authority.
Well, Eric, I can give you an example. Sometimes opportunity, I say sometimes our ship don't come in, but there's nothing that says we can't swim out to where it is. So in my case, I was working as a bank president, and I didn't need something else to do. But I'd read the books and was influenced by them, and I spoke at a little Presbyterian church where the Historical Society met, and I talked about him. And on the way home, I was thinking, I ought to contact them people. So when I got home, I took a yellow pad and wrote a note to the Napoleon Hill Foundation, which they were located outside Chicago. And I got a nice letter back inviting me to have dinner with them, and which I thought it was a thrill to meet with W. Clement Stone. I guess he was a billionaire, and he influenced Hill and worked with him for 10 years. So I met him and we had dinner, and we talked about books. And somewhere along the line, he said that I believe you know more about these books than we do. Said you ought to be a board member. And I said, Mr. Stone, what do I have to do? And he said, just come to the meetings. And I served on the board of trustees, and I was president of a bank at the time and had been going on 20 years. And the old directors that owned a lot of the stock, like I did, they wanted to sell and retire and move to Florida or ever what. And so I located them a good suitor, and we sold out. And of course, they had asked me when I could be available because the other executive director was not in good health and unable to travel. And so I told them, and I made a deal with the bank. I told them I wouldn't go to work for a competitor, though I was under a contract, if they'd pay me for a year furnish my benefits and my automobile. And they agreed to it, and I went to work I didn't miss any. I worked through a Friday and started on a Monday, and set the office up, and it's been actually a dream. You think back 20 years, there was no internet, there were no PDF files. When I contacted foreign publishers, I had to fax them the letters, and then when they wanted to review a book, I had to FedEx it to them. My FedEx bill was running up in thousands of dollars a month. It's the only way I could make contact with the foreign publishers. And they hadn't done books in foreign countries except Japan. And I started making so much money. It was just, what they was used to was just unbelievable. And I had taught a class at the college, University of Virginia, where I'm a board member, called Keys to Success, using Hill's principles. And they offered me space at the college to set my offices up. And we have 6 rooms that we have our archives in, and where we do our work, and which has just been an ideal setup. And we've published about, in that period of time, I don't count them, but there's probably 80 some books at least that we've done based on Hill's material, and we've still not published it all.
Wow.
And numerous audios. You know, he started out at an early age, and he lived to be 87 years old. So he did a lot of speeches, a lot of radio programs, even TV programs, WGN in Chicago. And he spoke anywhere. I mean, one year I got his ledger. He spoke in 80 some different cities in 1 year. So he was active, and turned out a lot of material.
Wow, thank you for sharing that with us, Don. That's a lot of history, and I mean, you guys have been in conjunction with, you know, Think and Grow Rich, which I mean, who doesn't know about this book or read this book? Success in Something Greater, you know, The Gift of Giving, you know, 3 Feet from Gold, you know, and shout outs to Sharon Lecter, very good friend of both of ours, and with Think and Grow Rich for women. You know, what exactly would you have to say to those book authors out there, those people, as far as some advice that you could maybe, some golden nuggets you could maybe give them, as far as, you know, maybe who to collaborate with or how to excel their book a little bit? I mean, you guys are a part of the legendary books, you know.
I got to get up just a second. Let him in. Okay, just 1 second.
Okay. Yeah, he's got his team. So guys, right now you're watching live here on eZWay Live with we're with Don Green, the CEO of the Napoleon Hill Foundation. And I want you guys to give me your questions. I want you guys to give me your comments. I want you guys to help me, you know, get to Don. And if you notice, I'm wearing the gold jacket. I'm wearing the official gold jacket.
I couldn't get over it because I'd already started.
Don is back. Hey, Don, I forgot to ask you, man. What do you think of my official eZWay Live gold jacket?
No, that's great. That's great. That'll get attention.
So we have so I'm gonna go back to my question, but actually we have a couple fans. You know, the legend Napoleon Hill, Jared. That people are posting, you know, things as far as what they might have been involved with you guys. That's my dad. Hello, Don. Maybe you can help me keep up with Eric. Michelle says, so glad to be here. Theodosia says, thank you for sharing your time with us. We appreciate your expertise. And Schroeder says, you know, extra cool. So what advice would you have to the book authors out there, Don, on maybe who to collaborate with and how to sell their books?
Well, someone said, a writer by the name of John, S-H-E-I-D, don't have to pronounce it. He said almost anybody could write a book. The hardest thing in the world was to sell it. But there's one word, and it's perseverance. Let me use Sharon for an example. Sharon Lecter, my dear friend and partner. Sharon did the Rich Dad Poor Dad books, and she couldn't get nobody interested. And she had them printed and hauled them around in her car. And then Time Warner contacted her. So, you know, I think she's 14 of them she co-authored. It sold about 30 million copies. So I see a lot of people today is they think they can write a book and they will get a hold of us, or they won't get a hold of Sharon or Greg or somewhere, and then they don't have to do anything. If a person's like right now, times are, I guess, they're not good in the book business, but they've been fantastic for us. I know the book sales in the stores are not, but the Amazon's unbelievable. I talked to one of the publishers today, and he said last month was the best month they'd had in Amazon since they ever. And so someone has to self-publish and get someone to publish a book, like Create Space on Amazon. You know, you can get all the work done, probably cost you a few $1,000s, and self-publish it. But then if you'll get out and promote the book and show that you've been able to sell 5, 10, 20,000 copies or something or other, you won't have any trouble getting a publisher. But it takes a lot of hard work. Even my book, being with the Napoleon Hill Foundation, I wrote it. After I got it published, the first time I showed up was at a local Qantas, and there were 20 some odd people already there. One of them, but one had done bought my book before I showed up to speak. But then you keep on in contacts, and I was able to get Books A Million stores, and I did a CBS TV thing, and could have been out traveling, except I had to run the foundation. But every interview, every free book you can give away, or once you get the book, you get people to spread the news. I mean, like Rick Warren wrote the book Purpose Driven Life, and the last time I saw the numbers, it had sold 8 million copies. He gave away 33,000 copies, it was said, and he spread them out through the churches. And while they didn't sell the books, they told the people, and those people went out and bought the books. So if you have a friend, I could send Eric a book, and he might not get out and sell it, but he's got thousands of followers, and there's just so many different ways in the social media today, doing interviews. I mean, the papers, they're starving for news items and what have you. I did an interview with a guy on Outwitting the Devil right before it came out, and he was for a favor. He was so thrilled he put it on the wire service, and that story, that interview, it got published over 200 and some newspapers. And though Barnes and Noble's published a book, Sharon and I found out in a matter of 2 or 3 days, all their stores were sold out. You couldn't find a book. They never supplied them with enough books. And but you do what you can, and the influence of, and people love doing you favors, especially if you've done one for them sometime. Yeah. So you don't have to be you don't have to remain quiet over the thing. And I said, never go nowhere without having the books with you, and give a lot of them away. It's the best investment ever was. On the gift of giving, I sent a guy one in California, and it came in today. He's from Burbank. Wrote the nicest letter ever was, and give me permission to use it. So I'll give it to the social media people to put out there. And I guess if there's one word you can use, it's persistence. You know, it's persistence, and of course that applies to everything.
Well, my dad always tells a story on this gentleman that gets up on the stage, and they say, well, you know, what's the secrets to success? And then he comes up on the stage, comes on the microphone and says, never give up. And then he goes, sits back down. And then they're like, well, can you expand? Can you, can you give us a little bit more information? And he comes back to the microphone and goes, never give up. And then he sits down, then he does it again. And what he was trying to get across is, no matter what, you're going to get to your goal if you don't give up, obviously. And there's a couple of people on here, Don, that are saying some things to you. I just bought the book so I can get my hands on the pearls of wisdom. Thanks, Don. We're longtime fans, sharing as we go. By the way, thank you so much, guys. Don't forget to do your watch parties. Let's put some watch parties out. Let's share it out there. Corey says Don Green is a legend. And Shelly Hunt just joined us. What's up, Shelly? So we got a lot of our eZWay Wall of Famers. And speaking of the eZWay Wall of Fame, I want to show everybody, guys, you can connect with Don. He is on our eZWay Wall of Fame. And you go to eZWayWall.com. You go to members and search Don, and you can actually connect with him and do it the easy way. So thank you for the wisdom, Don. And so how did you meet Sharon, by the way? How did you guys get connected? How did Sharon get involved with the whole Napoleon Hill Foundation situation?
Well, Sharon read the book. I think she'll correct me if I'm wrong, but I think she was 19. She read Think and Grow Rich. She went to Florida State University. It was in North Florida, and she was actually a CPA. And she she read the book Think and Grow Rich. I believe her father was responsible. This goes back a long time. And we had talked before. And I had the idea of doing the book 3 Feet from Gold. That's based on persistence, of course, and it's a story. There's a lot of history to it. It's a story that's in the first part of Think and Grow Rich, where R.U. Darby, he put a seminar on in Baltimore, and paid for Hill to do a seminar, and he called it. It was in 1933, and when he held his seminars, and Darby told him the story about years before that. He went out west and discovered gold, and that he gave up on it, and he sold his equipment to an old junk man, and the junk man discovered a gold 3 feet from where he quit, and said what he learned from it was persistence and never give up. And he went in the insurance business, and when he asked someone to buy a life insurance policy, and they said no, he said never take no for an answer. And he also told him the little story on persistence. He said the little girl shows up to meal and says, my mammy says send her 50 cents. And she kept going on and on. She would never leave. He threatened to whip her, take a stick to her. She never took her eyes off of it. After a while, he got tired, and he reached her the 50 cents. And he said, he'd sit there and looked out the window at the meal and said he had just been conquered by a little girl wanting 50 cents because she's persistence. And I read a lot, and I hear from lots and lots and lots of people. Like, for example, there's a book, or to send him a bill. Billy Ray Cyrus wrote a book called Hillbilly Heart, which he's born not far from here. He got thrown out of college for having dogs in his room, got expelled. And he's out one day, and there was a gentleman broke down by the side of the road. And he stopped, offered to help him. And he's an elderly guy. And the guy said, I was kind of surprised a young person stopped and offered help. And he said, well, I was driving, your car's broke down, and said, see if I could help you. So the man was a Dr. Bailey, and he asked Billy Ray Cyrus to stop by his office. And he did. And he gave him Think and Grow Rich, and he told him to read it and study it. And he said he read a story on persistence, and he said it was like a voice spoke to him and said, Billy Ray, buy you a guitar and start you a band. And one chapter in his book is titled Persistence, and he tells that story. And he said they played for over and over for $50, $100, rough places, anywhere they get a gig. And of course, the girls know he came out with that record, Achy Breaky Heart, that they all like to dance to. And of course, as they say, the rest of his history. And in his book, he tell about little Miley singing when she was 6 years old at the top of her voice. And that wasn't her name. He called her Smiley. When she went in show business, they dropped the S off her name and gave her Miley. But there's so many stories out there. You read Draymond John, Steve Harvey, over and over. We're in touch with people, and we hear of people that some aspect of Think and Grow Rich got them going. And Eric, people often ask me, well, that book's that old. Said it's things that's got to be out of date. And I said, well, it's a principle. It's kind of like gravity. If you visit your grandpa's farm over the weekend and you get up on top of it about 60, 70 feet high and you jump off, you're going to get hurt or get killed. It doesn't matter if you do it today or you wait next summer and do it. I said, some things don't change. And that going extra mile, applied faith, and the principles that other people have used, maybe consciously or unconsciously, like going the extra mile. I mean, doing a little bit more. And of course, there's even stories in the Bible about where the Jews complained of being beast of burden for the Roman soldiers, and it was expecting sympathy. And instead, the answer they got was, when a man asks you to go a mile, go twain. Or in other words, twain meaning twice. Do more than is required of you. Eric, there was a mentor, and I won't tell his name except Jim, that interviewed me in 1975. I remember like it was 5 minutes ago. He had started a bank when he was 29 years old. It was 1 year old, and the bank was in trouble. If you're not a banker, they were under cease and desist orders, meaning they couldn't make new loans till they straightened themselves out. and they were having trouble. And he called me and said my name came up and wanted to interview me. And I interviewed him over the weekend. I was managing the finance office. And Jim told me, he said, Don, you do a little extra one day. He said, it won't matter. You do a little extra for a week, it probably won't matter. But if you continue to do a little more than everybody else is doing, he said, one day you're going to be a success that the rest of the world just dreams about. And he's a mentor today and a donor and extremely successful. And guess what? He reads everything. And I can't overemphasize reading. He told me when he was in the 7th grade, they test him the reading ability. He was going to school in the mountains of Grundy, Virginia, near the West Virginia line, a little coal mining town, struck with poverty. And he said that was nice to be tested. But he found out he's in 7th grade. He tested on the 5th grade level. And the teacher challenged him to read the books in the library, do a 2-page report, and she'd put a star by the name. And they'd run that for a year. And he said he got so enthused with reading, nobody else come close to him at the end of the year. He had read so many books. So you think if that woman hadn't encouraged him to read, what would have happened to Jim? I mean, he's got a monopoly almost in his business. He's got plants in China, Mexico, and several in the United States and Japan, whatever. And probably one of the most intelligent person I've ever been around. And he came to one of my book signing, and his wife, of course, I knew her also from the banking days when she'd come in the bank. And she said, Dawn, I think you're like Jim. Y'all's hobbies work. So I do have some hobbies, but he just love what he's doing. But he's still a reader. When I published Sharon and Greg, we did that 3 Feet from Gold, a local chamber of commerce not far from here. They asked me to come and speak. So I took some of the books. And Jim called me and said, Don said, I saw where you're going to be speaking at a Chamber of Commerce breakfast. Said, you care if I show up? I said, no, I'll save a seat at the table. I'll be sitting up at the front because I'm going to be the one to speak it. And he did. And so when that thing was over with, a lot of them old guys were bankers. I knew from a banking business and what have you. And them guys were saying, Don, how'd you get him here? How'd you get him here? How'd you get him here? Mm-hmm. And of course, we know it was all through books. And he's just an absolutely wonderful person, quiet, unassuming, but brilliant. And he's still an avid reader. Our attorney's Robert Johnson. He was first in his class at the University of Michigan, and he graduated from law school. And he's an avid reader. He and I exchange books. Both of us read 3 or 4 books a week. And he helps us. He publishes, he edits a lot of them. And same way, he worked for K.L. Gates, which is our law firm. That's Bill Gates' father. He worked for them 33 years and took early retirement just to work with us in the books and a little less hectic schedule than working for a large law firm in Chicago.
Don, wow. I mean, thank you for the wealth of knowledge and a little facts, guys, on Napoleon Hill. Think of Grow Rich was published by Napoleon Hill in 1937. And he said, all the breaks you need in life wait within your imagination. Imagination is the workshop of your mind, capable of turning mind energy into accomplishments and wealth. And his book from 1937 has never been out of print and has sold over 10 million something copies. And this is who we're talking to, the man behind that person and that foundation, that situation. And Don, I'd love to get your opinion. Love to get your idea. This is my book. It's called The Influence Effect. What do you think of the cover? Different?
I went off for a second. Let's see.
So I'm saying this is my book. It's called The Influence Effect, and it's me in the middle of a tornado with Sharon Lecter and Frank Shankwitz and a lot of influencers as well as general supporters and people spinning around. And it's actually called The Influence Effect because we help create influence effects to make differences. What do you think of that concept in that cover?
Absolutely. You know, it reminds me of signage on my door at my social media. put up, and the sign says there's only two ways to learn. One of them is from books, and the other is being around people smarter than we are. And so there you are. If you, as Mark Twain said, people that don't read, they're no better off than people who can't read. And so the other sector is being around people smarter than you are, and we learn from other people. My God, monkeys learn from monkeys. Sure to goodness, people can learn from people, and if we miss out on that, to having a chance to be around someone that we can learn from, there's no way we can progress. We're going to remain on the same level if we don't get some information from other people. And I asked Lana, I said, she's a social media girl. She teaches it on the college level. I said, why come you put that sign up? Only two ways to learn, from books and being around smarter people, Don Green. I said, actually, Will Rogers said something similar to that. And she said, well, I've heard you say it 1,000 times. And I said, well, I'll probably say it another 1,000 if I live long enough. And that's it. So when someone comes out of a book, like I'm gonna get Eric's book. I'm sure there's something in there. I'm going to learn. And if you only get one sentence out of it, if I could quote Albert Schweitzer, when somebody asked him, said, "What's wrong with people?" He said, "They don't think." I read that story on there, and at probably the 50th time I've been in Thinking Gross, I said that story on 3 Feet from Gold. I said, golly, what a nice book title, and what a story on persistence. And that's when Sharon and Greg, I've been asked by Charlie Jones, one of our big book buyers, to help him to get something published. And I told Greg about what I'd started out of the book, and then Sharon had been wanting to work with us, and I called her and I said, Sharon, would like to finish this book on 3 Feet from Gold, and told her the story. And it become a bestseller right off, and it still sells tremendous. And the fact is, we just issued a 10th anniversary edition. And then so we'd done that a little while, and I had that Outwitting the Devil in my mind, which it needed editing because it was just original manuscript. And I called Sharon, made copies of it, sent it to her. She got in touch with me, and she said, when she started reading, she sat up all night and read the book. She said she was just so taken in by the material dealing with fear. And so we publishing it as a 10th anniversary edition. In fact is, the publisher told me, he said, guess what? On a phone call, I said, I don't know. He said, I thought we had plenty of books, and I just found out this morning that FedEx called and said they've all been shipped. And I said, well, we got good news. He said, yeah. He said, we're getting a new print of 10,000, and they'll be here this week. So it's in 47 different languages, because fear is something another. It's the same. It's the same. It affects everybody. It's the strongest of all emotions. And when fear takes over your mind, you're in bad shape. And if you want a quick lesson, there's one thing that will help us and get rid of it, fear. And that's having a positive mental attitude.
Yeah. My dad always says the way in which you think will determine your outcome. It's all about, your mental, way of, I mean, when I go into a business deal, or I talk to somebody, I mean, like meeting you, for instance, I met you by contacting you on Facebook. You had no idea who I was, but I reached out to you, and I envisioned us becoming friends. I envisioned us making a difference together. I envisioned us, you being on my show. And look, right now you're on my show. We're friends. We're making a difference together, right? So
absolutely. One of the guys said, we can't do everything, but we can do something.
Yeah.
I have a business partner. We own cable TV together, and we built land development, and we own Pizza Pluses, office buildings, God knows, spring water, all kinds of things. And he was coming out of a restaurant one day, and there's a guy there in George. I didn't know him. I'd seen him, but my partner did. And he said, you ever get you a job? And he said, nope. And he said, where all have you applied? Well, he said, I'm not applied nowhere. He said, there ain't nobody hiring. Now, believe me, Eric, if you sit at home one day and watching TV, smoking your weed or something or other, The chance of someone knocking on your door and says, Eric, boy, if I got a deal for you, it probably is not going to happen.
Yeah.
You've got to get out there and make inquiries and what have you. And hey, listen, you may contact 10 different people before you get one of them. But hey, sometimes one yes is all you need.
Yeah.
Because he asks on audio, he asked the audience, how many times do you think on the average people quit when things don't go right? And the audience will holler 1, 2, 3 different numbers. They'd holler. He said, no, I said on the average. He said the average is less than 1 because most people never start. And I taught this material 12 times. And one thing I learned to tell the students the first night, I said, I'd like for y'all to do me a favor when you go home or your room or where you're staying at, and get your calendar out and look for someday on it. See if you can find someday. Because when you sit there and say, someday I'm going to start saving money, someday I'm going to see if I can get on Eric's program, someday I'm going to make contact with Don Green, Sharon Lecter. There's no such thing as someday. That's a polite way we have lying to ourselves. I'm going to do a budget and start taking care of my bills someday or whatever. As long as we put it off in the future, that's not going to happen. All we're doing is lying to ourselves. We got to commit. And that's the reason we write goals and we write them down. Because it is a contract with ourselves. Said, this is what I'm going to do. Now, sometimes it may not come about as quick as you thought it was. It takes longer for some reason, for some interruption that was beyond your control. But the thing it is, you start from where you are. Hill said, start from where you are. Even if you don't have perfect plans, you can always alter. Eric, if I was coming to visit you in California, I might miss a cutoff or something other out there. Or you coming to see me, you might do it, but that don't mean, well, I got to go back home. I missed my cutoff. You look at obstacles as something to stop you, or look at them as something other to challenge you to go on. And I can remember some of them. I got in the art business because I loved art, and boy, I was a regular hot shot. I was locating stuff through estate sales and stuff like that back when I was in the banking business. And I was selling some stuff just to get a sale stuff to Sotheby's, and boy, I was doing well. And then there was a Sloan and Kenyon. I had a good friend that worked at that was big in the art business, and I had a lot of collections of Russian art. They were painted by the guy that his name was Eugene Kumanov. He painted the settings for the movie War and Peace. So I started buying his paintings at a reasonable price, and just for the heck of it. And then I sent about 10 to Sloan and Kenyons. I was convinced that there were a lot of rich Russians in the Maryland suburbs around Washington, D.C. And I went up there to the sale, and some of them didn't bring what I thought it was, which I just thought it's funny, is because I got a message, Don, you ain't smart as you thought you was. You should have put a minimum in each of them in that contract you signed, and if it didn't sell for $10,000 or $25,000 or what you thought you should have, you kept your paintings. And so I didn't get upset over it, but I didn't quit doing it, because the next contract I signed is I figured out what I thought I ought to get for the painting, and that become the minimum selling price. So, you can look at things that happen like as a lesson learned, or you can say, well, I guess I goofed that up. I ain't trying that no more. But guess what? We can make the choice. That's what sets us apart from animals. We got the power to choose, and that makes all the difference in the world.
You fall off the horse, you got to get right back on. And I actually want to go back to something, Don, that you touched on, that actually my dad had a great question. And it's funny, me and my dad are on the same wavelength because I was going down this direction as well. My dad said, Don, how are you transitioning into the new age and media technology? Because you were saying there's always something to learn. There's always something to learn from. I'd love for you to talk a little bit about, because you guys have been in the industry for a very long time. You've been involved with a lot of things. I don't want to say how long, 50 years, 60 years, 40 years, you're veterans, but the world is transitioning. It's completely changing. How are you guys coping and dealing with that as a business? Well,
I just think it's interesting to wake up and out and see what's different, and we have to, I said, you can be on the right road, but if you're not moving, you get run over. And I mean, You just have to adapt to things, and necessarily you don't have to learn it all. Me, as I said, just get somebody to do it for you. It knows it a lot better than you do, because as someone asked my wife about it, how Dawn's, she says to him, said they current on conversation. It's some women she volunteered with through the blood bank or something or another, and they're having a conversation, and I'm not. And she said, well, I heard they sold the bank. Said, what's Don working at now? She said, let me tell you about Don. He's not worked none in his life. And she said, I thought he worked the bank. She said, no. She said he was the bank, but he always got somebody else to do what he couldn't do. And I took it as a compliment. But we got to keep up. We got to keep up with him, Cheryl. That young guy, Zane, that set me up on this, he's 24 years old. He's my administrative assistant. And guess what? He came to work for me in the 8th grade when he was 14 years old, the week he turned 14, because I knew his mom. His dad was a coal miner, but his mother went back to college, and she taught computer science, and I knew the family. I started him at $10 an hour in the 8th grade. He worked 20 hours a week. He worked all the way through high school. He worked all the way through college. He finished in 3 years, honor rolls at the top of the class, and he's got his MBA in 2 years online while working full time for me. And I said, now he's got 10 years in on one job, and he's only 24 years old. So to me, it's kind of amazing. But I've got some other young people that's been around. Zane, for example, 17 when he starts in college, he had a Roth IRA retirement account, and I showed him how to set up a stock account, and he was buying stock. And probably the only kid in the United States that set up a retirement account for you while he's still in high school, and did it on his own. And and that's what we for. People can learn from us, but then we can learn from others. You know, I learn from those people that are speaking. I mean, some of them amaze me, their delivery and so forth, and they've done it so long. And we have to learn from other people. That's the reason you keep reading the books and having contacts with other people. And if we don't, there's no way we're going to reach anywhere. None of us reach our maximum potential, but we can make an effort at it.
Definitely, and you know, we got a lot of comments here. I'm trying to keep up with everything. What a blessing from him. So you're definitely, thank you for your golden nuggets, your words of wisdom. And Don, I just wanted to take some time and actually kind of show you where this is being broadcasted from right now. It's actually live right now on Manny Pacquiao's television, supported television station. It's live right now on our Wall of Fame, which you're on. You guys can follow Don on the Wall of Fame. Don't forget. So like right now, as we speak, we're live. Compliments of our partner with our television station, One Studio. And I want to encourage everybody to go to members, go to eZWayWall.com. You see it at the bottom there. And then go and search for Don. And if you want to connect, if you want to talk to Don, if you miss your chance to actually connect with him, you just type in Don and you can just find him and actually add him as a friend and follow him and follow his workings. We put Greg Reed and that tour in there. And so, Don, we definitely want to help you and your message and all these people that you're working with. We all work with a lot of the same people, the same Wall of Famers, and we want to help you get your message out there in the books. Are you guys open? This is a question that we actually had from our email. Are you guys open for working with other book publishers, other situations, other books? Are you open for other donations? How does that work if one wants to work with the Napoleon Hill Foundation? Can you hear me?
Well, we like to work with other people. Of course, there's no way we can do as many of them as they want. This year, I think us by the end of the year we'll have published about 10 new books this year. But we've worked with Sharon, we've worked with Greg's, I work with Jim Stowall, and a lot of people don't publish books that are with what our trustees has lined out, that what our mission is. And of course, our motto is making the world a better place in which to live. And I always look at our audience as worldwide. For example, we have over 500 foreign publishers. I have 25 different publishers in Russia alone. And the reason I know these 25, one of my trustees is a doctor. He's Napoleon Hill's grandson. He asked me one day on the phone, because he had adopted 2 kids when they were little from Russia, and well, the little girls just started college. He asked me how many publishers we had in Russia. And so I asked my assistant, and of course we got a list of them. There were 25 different Russian publishers that had published our books. And I know I've counted them. I've done 40-some different books in Saudi Arabia alone. So we think we're making a difference in the world.
So and what is so we can get you traffic and people that might want to donate and might want to support. What is your mission? What is it that you're looking to do? How are you looking to what type of how can people serve you if they wanted to support?
Well, to promote our books, simply Think and Grow Rich, books that's got the Napoleon Hill Foundation copyright in the front page, and they make wonderful gifts, especially a nice hardback like 3 Feet from Gold or Outwitting the Devil, or the little book I did with Sharon and them, Success and Something Greater. I furnished the magic key for Sharon and Greg on that book, and that is actually a title of Napoleon Hill. I found an old contract in our archives that he had served with Penguin to publish a book, and he had titled it Success and Something Greater. But when they publish it, as Think and Grow Rich with Peace of Mind. And so I thought, we ought to use that title as Hill's words, Success and Something Greater, because, and that's what Grow Rich with Peace of Mind is. In the beginnings, we know that money is what it was about for those people who think it was. And when he wrote Think and Grow Rich, the original copy had on the outside to top, for men and women who resent poverty. And so it was about money, because it was during the Depression. But later he was around people that made a lot of money, but they did not have a balanced life. And so I won't say his thinking changed. There was other things other than wealth. For example, even in 1945, when living in Los Angeles, he wrote a book, Master Key to Riches, and he listed the 12 riches in the book at things that we want to acquire in life. And he listed financial money as number 12. And of course, what I say about the money is, it's like oxygen. It's hard to live without it, and in importance, it probably ranks second to oxygen, because the society we live in, you simply can't survive without money.
Well, I love that. Watch this, Don. I'm going to show you how our eZWay family rolls and how we all support one another. Guys, if you are with what you just heard, if you want to support, if you're going to share this broadcast, I want to remind you to start a watch party. Let's get this out. This is a great opportunity that we get to spend some time with Don. And if you guys can help, if you guys are willing to help, press the share button, help promote the books, help get involved. As he is a fellow Wall of Famer now, he's part of the family. So if you guys are willing to help, say yes, say okay, give us some interaction, give us some comments, because we definitely want to support the cause, Don, and support what you guys are doing. And what about so I don't know if we really got to I want to make sure we get that answer. So you're saying that maybe through us, through the Wall of Fame, if people want to submit the opportunity to maybe try to support your foundation and get their book involved or whatever, are those doors open, or you guys already have a certain amount of people that you're not? I mean, is that something that you're open to, or no?
Well, we're not closed-minded. I wish I could do everyone was out there, but even if we don't, even the books are available. I was here in September last year, and I got a call from someone putting on a convention in Las Vegas, and they wanted 5,000 copies of Think and Grow Rich. Mm-hmm. And of course, Acre got them printed as a little paperback cheaper. But I convinced them. I said, if you want to impress someone, for example, I would never think about giving a college graduate or even a high school graduate a paperback book. because you know, it just says something. You know, that you pay another couple bucks for a hardback book, and people be proud to show it on their desk or display it. And plus, the books are a great conversational piece, or a little pen that says "Think and Grow Rich" on it, which that means I got to send Eric one.
All right.
I'll make a note of that. It's a conversation piece. I showed up at one of my daughter's events, and this guy sees it on my coat because I'd just been to church, and he said, "What's that mean?" And I said, "I work for the Napoleon Hill Foundation." Man, I read that book, and you do that? And so he got in touch with me the following week, and we done some business together. And it was just from a conversation piece. He saw a little pin on me. It said, "Think and Grow Rich" on my lapel. So it's amazing when we put out a little bit of effort what we can accomplish. And everyone gets in touch with me. I may not get done what they want to do, but I don't ignore people. I do get back in touch with them. And I'll tell you
that's one thing I can definitely vouch for you on is you are, even though you're as busy as you are very good at getting in touch with people. And that's why we're glad to have you on the eZWay Wall of Fame, because it's a platform to help you get in touch with people. And after I asked that question, Don, I just want to show you how our eZWay family rolls. So DC Goliath is actually the president of our TV network, and she's promoting as of now. She's saying to people, get the gift, buy it for a friend. Todd Sue is one of our supporters, eZWay family. Buy Napoleon Hill Foundation books, well worth it. Layla said, great book that have made a huge difference in so many lives. Thank you so much for the honor. Bill says, thanks, Don. Teaching and application of self-esteem ideas were very valuable to our school program starting in the 80s. Bill is very, very connected to a lot of schools, by the way. Layla shared it. So Denise is saying, yes, she's going to share it. Bill is going to share it. Theodosa is going to share it. I'm interested in a certification. So there's a business deal. So we got to get a connection going there.
Tell Michelle to send me an email.
Michelle, so get in contact with us. Let's get you connected with that. DC says, go to eZWayWall.com to connect with Don Green. And again, guys, this is why we do this. Make sure you go to eZWayWall.com and connect with Don. What does Don do in his office, hobbies, etc.? That's a good question, Dad. And then Theodosa says, Don, can you tell a story of how the Think and Grow Rich was almost titled "Use Your Noodle to Get the Boodle"? All right, so let's go ahead and get to the questions and answers part of the show, because we have about 10 more minutes, guys. So this is where it's all you guys, not me anymore. It's all you guys. It's your questions, your comments. You got 10 minutes. So starting with my dad's question, what does Don do for fun and time and hobbies besides all the business stuff?
Okay, I was a golfer because we played a lot of tournaments. So when I was a banking business, and of course there was a lot of business on that. And actually, I had a foursome, and one of them was Larry Joe Hill. He was a distant cousin of Napoleon Hill. In fact, his dad's still living, and he's the only first cousin left. But Larry had a heart attack at the age of 76. He was director of education, and died. And I just kind of got away from it the last 4 years. But I got lots of family and friends, and I read. I said I read 3 or 4 books a week. I love to travel with this job. I've been in the Orient, Japan, Malaysia, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Japan 3 times. I've been in Germany 3 times, Mexico 8 or 10. We've got to travel a lot, first class, and meet a lot of interesting people. Go to the book fair in Germany. Love to go there and have a booth, but I believe it's going to be canceled this year. They have not put a cancellation of that. I love to go to it. It has about 300,000 visitors a year, and it's the oldest book fair in the world, and it's unbelievable. They were last I went. They were 800 and some publishers at the event, and just a delight to meet other publishers and other authors and so forth, and get acquainted. But I didn't get to tell it. But the reason I answer my people get in touch with me, I can't always help them, but I even answer all prisoners. we'll get 10, 15 letters. I got 3 today from people in prison. They either want a book or want some comment or want someone taking contact when they get out of prison to work in reform and so forth. We do a lot of prison work. They read a lot of our books. But the reason I get in touch with people is a simple reason. You don't never know who's out there that you'll connect with that can make a difference in your life. For example, I told it in one of my books, probably 10 years ago, I had someone in the University of Virginia where I've been on the board for 20-some years straight. And my assistant, she comes back to my office and says, Don, someone on the phone from Nigeria wants to talk to you. And I said, I can't right now. But she said, well, just be careful. Said, there's a lot of junk comes in over the internet from Nigeria. I said, why don't you just give him my cell phone and tell him to call me? Because I said, it's about time for me to leave. So I was out doing my 5-mile walk and the phone rings and I answered it. And the guy says, this is Polly in Nigeria. And I said, Polly, this is Don. I said, what can I do for you? He called me Mr. Don. Mr. Don, would you listen to my story? And he told me about being 14 years old, growing up in Nigeria on the streets and end up owning a pharmaceutical firm, tremendous donor. But anyway, he said, I said, what book did you read? He said, I read Success to a Positive Mental Attitude by Napoleon Hill and W. Clement Stone. And we talked a while. And I said, Mr. Stone wrote a couple of books. I said, I used to meet with him, and he's the one who put me on the board. I said, he wrote a couple of books of his own. He said, I didn't know that. Well, I said, Paulie, you said you've been on the internet. You send me your address. So when I get in tomorrow, I'll have my assistant send you a couple of books. And we did. It probably cost $100. And I forgot about him. I thought, well, I did a good deed. But it was 2 or 3 weeks. I get a call from him, and he said, Mr. Don, this is Polly in Nigeria. He said, I've been traveling. Said, I've been in Thailand and Korea, and he named over a bunch of places. And he said, I have a pharmaceutical company. I said, yeah, that's what you told me. He said, them 2 books was there. He said, you said you'd send them. I said, Polly, my mother said, just say what you're going to do, but you be sure you do what you said. And I said, I told you I'd send you 2 books. And I sent you the 2 books. And he said, I want to make a donation. I said, now, Polly, we're a nonprofit. We won't turn your money down, but we don't ask for donations. He said, I want to wire you $100,000. He wired me $100,000, and I called him. And I said, Polly, do you ever come to the United States? Oh, yes. He said, I have a daughter that's a lawyer in Maryland. I said, well, why don't you come visit my office? And I said, you like Napoleon Hill so good, and I'll show you around. He said, I will, and I will bring you another $150,000, which will make $250,000. And he comes to see me at once at least a year, except for a couple of times they had trouble in Nigeria. He couldn't get his visa renewed, but he always gives me some more money. It's usually $5,000 or $10,000. It's more than $300,000 he's given me, and he's told everybody in the world about us. And it's just from one little kind deed. I did not have no thought of him ever doing anything for us or whatever. But you never know. But you never know. And so I can't sit there and reject people, even if it's somebody in prison. I'm not going to help them. But I'm not going to get their mail and throw it in the trash can.
Mm-hmm. That's great that you're actually, engagement is everything. I always tell people, numbers don't really mean anything nowadays. Engagement is everything. And so, I look at social media and streaming as a what I call the digital handshake effect. I created the digital handshake effect to literally connect people on these streams. And it's awesome to literally watch the transitions and watch the business deals happen. And now we have that on our actual platform. And so I noticed Mike Green, and he said, hey, Uncle Green, is this your nephew?
No, he's not. But he's been around some of our events, and he's one of our people that's taken our course and so forth. And he's got a good sense of humor.
Okay.
But he calls me Uncle Don. But he's a supporter. He sells real estate for Sotheby's is his profession. But he keeps up with us on social media and so forth. Very well.
Don, I'm getting a download. God's telling me to ask you something, to bring something up. So I don't know. Did you get a chance to watch our Wall of Fame virtual summit with 55 speakers? Sharon was on it. A lot of performers, and it was about 30,000 people that we reached, and it was a massive stage, just like what we're doing right now. Only it was just multiple speakers and performers, and it was to teach people how to go from brick and mortar to broadcast. We actually got about 300 people that subscribed, that registered, that want to get involved. And about 100 of those people said that they wanted to get involved with books. What do you think about doing a fundraiser, doing something like that, a virtual fundraiser, a virtual way for people to get involved, for people to learn about, the teachings of Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Rich and all the books you do, and playing together in that capacity and putting you on our virtual stage, and not just you, but everything that's involved with you?
Well, it sounds very interesting. We're very, very financially solvent. Of course, I guess it's easy for me to been a banker for a long time. Plus, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm open to things, and seeing possibilities and things that you haven't done before, because things have to change. It was one of the New York University professor Plowser said was, we see more changes in our lifetime that's occurred throughout the rest of history, and we'll see more change in the next 10 years that's occurred in our lifetime. So things change real fast. I mean, for example, to reach a number of people that you'll reach promoting the Napoleon Hill Foundation and the work we do, man, it costs a fortune. For example, it's not practical to use a mailing list today. You're going up to mail 55 cents, and people on the average move every 5 years. And so old mailing list is very worthless. And I don't know what kind of response rate you get, but you can spend thousands of dollars on a mailing list to try to reach the number of people you can reach through social media. So you got to adapt to whatever is out there. I mean, I remember meeting with the founder of Barnes and Nobles when Sharon and we did the 2 books, and I asked about the ebooks and so forth. Of course, now this is like 11, 12 years ago, and he didn't expect it to amount to much. Well, I love them guys, but you know what happened to them? They forced to sell out. They never adapted, and of course we saw Borders, big bookstore, were out of business, and the bookstores, I won't say all of them, but most of them, they simply didn't change with the times. People still love bookstores, but you got to find ways that you can distribute your books.
Mm-hmm. And so are you guys with the transition? Are you with how are you guys, how have you guys transitioned from brick and mortar, which is traditional business, to broadcast?
Well, of course, us, even before this thing, we saw the need to do more social media to our course that we sell. Of course, I had 37 people scheduled to come here starting June 24th to take a third step in our online course that we teach on the principles of success. I had to cancel it. I had about 15 of them were from foreign countries. I had one employer in Cyprus pay for 7 of his employees. 5 of them were stationed in Cyprus and 2 of them in West Germany. So what we're doing now is we're with the media people, we're finishing up on making that third step available over the internet, so that we can do the same things. I mean, the seminars are wonderful, like traveling places, but it takes basically a week's period of time to get a few hundred people. But on social media, you can take your Facebook account and reach hundreds of people in a matter of moments. So you just got to use the Facebook, and Twitter, the Instagram, everyone else is out there to get your message out to as many people as possible. But I think.
So you said that you have a course that you guys are selling right now, and you have something that people can sign up for?
Yes, if they look at naphil.org, NAPHILL.org.
Well, I want to touch on that because it's one of the things we do with all of our Wall of Famers. We can actually take that course and put it on our store, which Sharon Lecter has a course on here. Forbes Riley, Frank Shankwitz, everybody has something on here. Laurel Langmeyer that is on the wall. and we should talk about getting that course or whatever you might want to get on, because a lot of people actually do come on here and purchase either free gifts or courses or whatever it is. And so this is our mini version of like what Amazon does, and e-commerce is everything. And so you said right now you're transitioning to that. You're in the works of doing more e-commerce and web-based business, correct?
Yes, we have lots and lots of people using our material, but I think it's authentic, and we have people that show up. It's drove up here from Florida. I know it may be rude. We can't accept visitors. Okay, we're busy. We'd be like a museum. I've got everything in these offices from Hill's Outwitting the Devil manuscript, Law Success manuscripts, hundreds of Think and Grow that's never circulated that he autographed. I got his eyeglass, his Parker pen, his typewriters he typed his books up on. I've sat at his desk the other day. That's a massive, oversized oak dress he bought in 1945 when he first went to California. And when he died in 1970, his nephew, Dr. Charlie Johnson, who was a medical doctor, he kept it till he retired, and he shipped it up here to me. I sat at his desk. So we got all this material, but I thought, well, people's wanting to do it. If they complete our 3-step course and complete the thing, we'll select 2 or 3 times a year that we can handle as many of them as we can, till we will show them through the archives. And of course, this is where Hill was born. There's a historical marker I had put up back in the 90s out on the highway. Only author in the state of Virginia, recognized by the Virginia Historical Society. They usually put those up to George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and so forth. But I got Napoleon Hill up. The little school he went to, picture of it in his biography, it's still in existence. The last house his father lived in is still here.
Do you have, sorry to interrupt you, Don, but do you have anything you could show us? Do you have like any original manuscripts or anything that you could show my audience that might be anywhere near you that you could grab? Because I remember on some of the videos I saw, you had a couple things.
You give me 2 minutes and I can show you the original manuscript of Outwitting the Devil.
I'll take over. Go ahead and grab that. That would be amazing. Thank you. Appreciate that.
You give me 2 minutes. I got to get it. Okay.
Okay. You got 2 minutes. So there we go, guys. Don himself is going to go grab you guys an original manuscript from Outwitting the Devil. That's kind of cool. And shout outs to everybody. Hey, Daniel Cook, how you doing? Thanks so much for popping in. So, guys, again, this is an open forum for you guys to talk to Don Green, to ask your questions, to get more in. I mean, guys, there's so much history with Napoleon Hill and what the Napoleon Hill Foundation does. And I could have gone into that direction. I could have went that direction with this interview. But I really wanted to give you guys the opportunity to connect with Don. That was really the point of this broadcast. And we're talking about a lot of things behind the curtain, a lot of great ways that we can support and help you guys. And so I really recommend that if you guys, you have the opportunity right now to talk to Don. He's here. He's open. And when he comes back and he shows us this original manuscript for the Outwitting the Devil, I would strongly suggest that you guys start really hitting the comments and you start really, asking your questions and really start getting in and let him feel you. Let him digitally shake your hand. That's why we call it the digital handshake effect. And that's why we do what we do, guys. That's why we do eZWay Live. And just to let you know, too, we're going to be doing some pretty awesome things with a new show that I'm going to be doing on a new show, but I'm bringing back my old show called Easy Talk Live on Voice America, with amazing legends like Don and some other really amazing guests. And you need to actually make sure that you're on the Wall of Fame so you know what's going on, so you know what time it is, so you can connect with these people. You're welcome, Michelle. Thank you for saying thank you. Power of appreciation, guys. I appreciate you guys. Yes, Don is amazing, Lila. Interesting and informative. Thanks, Dad. I appreciate the time to listen. Thank you, Eric. You're welcome, Theodosia. And then, guys, if you do your own broadcast, I know Theodosia has a show with us. I know Lila has a show with us. When you do your own broadcast, remember to think about your audience. Remember to think about, the audience and the content that you're creating or repurposing is all needs to be catered and based upon your audience. The more that you think about your audience and you give your audience props, the more that your numbers are going to go up. The more that you guys are going to realize that people are going to, people appreciate it just getting announced. That's why I try my hardest to announce everybody. We got Theodosia, Bill Brown. What's a good time for us to talk in a few minutes? Thanks. Okay, Bill Brown. Michelle Salinas. Lila Colgan, my dad, Daniel Cook, Mike Green. I'm shouting all you guys. And remember, this is going to be on international television, on national television, on Roku, on Apple, on Amazon, on My TV to Go, on Fan TV, on Voice America, on our app. This is going to be in a lot of places. Right now, we're live with it looks like there's about 80 people live right now. But this is going to go archive all over the world. This is going to be we're going to edit this interview. We're going to do some great stuff. And so if I show your comment like this, then your name, your picture, your stuff is being seen. People who knows what let me give you guys a little story, a little testimonial on something that actually happened with one of my broadcasts, one of my interviews. Somebody was smart enough and they posted a comment and they said, I'm so-and-so, I'm from so-and-so, here's my company, here's what I do to make a difference. And they really emphasized an interesting story. It was a long comment, but I posted it and it was a really good comment. So I kept it going. And believe it or not, an investor ended up seeing that idea, seeing what they posted, what they commented. They ended up connecting on our eZWay fam group and they ended up doing business. Straight up, they ended up doing business just because they decided to use the platform, use the gift that was given to them. You know, shout outs to Todd Sue. Thank you for supporting and all of you guys. So I just want to encourage you guys. Alex, shout outs to my boy Al here. Oh, there's Don. He's back. All right. We need some music for this because this is a big one right here. So thank you so much, Don. This music is provided by Schroeder. Without further ado, guys, the Don Green and the original manuscript for Outwitting the Devil.
You can't say it, but I got an appraisal from a rare book dealer. I see he praised it at $350,000. So,
wow,
it's rare. And I published the comments he wrote on the inside of his printing. You can see this is we photographed this page right here. That's the first page of the book, and he's got printing right below Outwitting the Devil. He said, by the man who broke the devil's code and forced him to confess, and that's in his print. And I've seen enough of it to recognize it, but that's it. I picked up a couple other items over there while I was over. This one I just had this since last year. This is a Think and Grow Rich and Old one, and this would belong to his wife. They married in 1943, and Hill died in 1970, 27 years. She died in 84. And this book has been with Charlie Johnson, our chairman, and I picked the stuff up. Charlie died in August, and I met some of the family down there at Grove Park Inn in North Carolina. And you can it's the only book I've ever seen that he's been signed twice. He's teaching a class in Presbyterian College, and his wife was in the class, and she got struck on him. She'd never been married, but he wrote in it to Miss Annie Lou Norman, that was her maiden name, with the author's best wishes and in recognition of her loyalty, initiative, ability, and sincerity. Napoleon Hill, 1941. They got married Christmas Eve in 1943, 2 years later. And he said, now she has the book and the author, 1943, for which he is grateful. He signed it December 23rd, 1943. So that's a part of our archives. And I've seen, we've got hundreds of books he signed, and I've seen a lot of others. That's the first one I've ever seen is twice. But here's an extremely rare item. And this was actually mine I had for a long time, but we've got all of them. This is January 1919. It's the first copy of Napoleon Hill's Golden Rule. And if you ever run across one, I sure would like to have it because it is rare. Don't know how many he printed, but he didn't have a lot of money. It sold for 20 cents a copy. That's January 1919. And of course, I did 3 books out of his magazines by taking things he wrote, and I published Napoleon Hill's Golden Rule, I published Road to Success, and I published a book called First Edition. And by the way, in March 1919, he wrote an article. He wrote an article in one of the magazines called The Law of Attraction. And of course, we know that that's what The Secret is about. But Law of Attraction was not nothing new. He'll recognize that in his writings in March 1919. And this was led over. I picked this up. It's a little success magazine he used to publish. And this was, let's see, this is October 1931. Of course, we know Success Magazine is still around. And the price was 25 cents. I think this is neat on the back of this thing. Of course, you know, he had epigrams, he called them. I mean, there's thousands of them I've got. This one says, "Tell the world what you can do, but first show it. One good deed is worth 1,000 fine words in any market." But was a neat little magazine. But that's a couple of items out of the archives. But we've literally got hundreds of them. I said, including his marriage license, his honorary doctorate degrees, marriage license, letters from J. Edgar Hoover and other people. Just amazing amount of material, and including this cowboy hat some Mr. Stone gave him. Of course, we got a lot of Mr. Stone stuff too, but people don't have the interest in W. Clement Stone they had in Napoleon Hill. But it's amazing the stuff that's accumulated. It's also amazing that audios and so forth that he had that we never done anything with. For example, when I picked up Annie Lou's material in August last year, they were about 10 or 12 boxes in 4 suitcases. All I could do is get them on my Lexus. Going through that stuff is material I never seen. For example, one of the items, well, that book was one of them, but she had probably 8 or 10 Think and Grow Rich in these different books. But she had 6 talks that he gave that had been typed in 1947. He did a Monday morning club show in California, and each one of them were dated. They were dated May, 1 week apart, every Monday for 6 Mondays. And what's odd was that she had to cancel checks with the material where she had paid $450 to rent the space, $50 for some lady that typed speeches up, and $200 a check for someone that had been a commentator. But she had all the material and never done with it. So I will publish it because there were some interesting talks that he gave. I said, that's 47. What's that? 73 years ago. But we'll get it in print for people that likes to read Napoleon Hill.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Don. That was so nice of you to share all those, history, all that history and those artifacts. I mean, the rarity of the signatures and the being the original manuscripts and the original. You said that was the original Success magazine, like the first. Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, Success magazine's pretty big, and so Don, I want to let you know that we have to wrap this up. I mean, this has been such an interesting interview. We're going way over time normally, but I'm like I don't care. I'm gonna make it happen. And I want to let you know what we do. Okay, when we have a good interview that gives some amazing golden nuggets, we have what's called the golden bell. So we're gonna ring the golden bell for you. Okay, this has actually been in our family for years. This is the Zuli bell, thanks to my dad. He actually brought that into me when I was interviewing Kristana Loken, the star of Terminator 3, and that's where it originated from. So we always use it. We also want to say thank you to Clarity, which I can't get through my days and get through my interviews without Clarity. It's a most amazing nutritional product, and remind everybody that you guys can go to eZWayWall.com, search members, go to Don Green and connect with him, and add him and follow him. And this interview does not just end here. We're going to do a lot of great things together. And Don, we did something special for you because we feel that you're worth $1 billion on behalf of our sponsor, Billionaires Elite. We did this for you. So it made you $1 billion bill. All right.
Yeah.
you're worth. I'm sorry. What did you say?
I said that's great.
Yeah. So we feel that you're worth more than $1 billion. But again, on behalf of Billionaires Elite, we made you this special $1 billion thing. And when we do interviews, when we do anything on our broadcast, we're going to try to do this specifically. And you know, for people like yourself that are making a difference and have done such a difference, it may not be real money, but it's kind of cool, right? So we'll be pushing this out. We made you your own little $1 billion dollar bill. We have a couple of comments of people that want to say bye. So again, guys, we do have to wrap it up. But if you want to say anything left to Don, and as we're wrapping up, Don, if you have any final words for us, any messages, any words of wisdom, of success words, or whatever you might want to leave us with, we'd love to hear it.
Well, I absolutely love what I'm doing. I've absolutely got the best job in the world. I don't have a doubt one. I'm going to be 80 years old here a little bit. And I guess my daughter's got a villa down in Hilton Head. It's nice for 3 or 4 days, but I go down there usually walk and ride. But if there's only one person out there, that's what I said to young people, if I did inspire one person, I wrote about that in one of my books, if it's just one person inspired, then it was all worth it. I know everybody listens to the same message, but everybody don't interpret the same. Mm-hmm. And that's the reason we read Think and Grow Rich, and we study, read something another, read it 10 years ago, you read it again. Material's the same, but we've had contact with different people. We've read other books, and we've been influenced by other things. So we'll interpret something another that we'll see that maybe we didn't see the first time, and then we'll say, "Oh, what? Think of that." I think and Grow Rich dozens of times before it jumped out at me, that idea for 3 Feet from Gold. And then Greg did a book, Stickability. That's a word I picked out of Napoleon Hill's book on persistence. So I think that things open up once your mind is I guess clear or whatever for things. And when you talked about imagination, we could talk and talk. It's one of my favorite principles, creative visualization, because it was Einstein of all people. Einstein said imagination was worth more than knowledge, and it's extremely what the mind. Hill's famous saying, "Whatever mind conceive and believe, the mind can achieve." But I will give an example in one of the books that my partner and I bought some land for $150,000. Long story. The lawyer had it, was going into prison. I contacted his wife and bought the land. But anyway, we got a couple $1 million out of it. But originally, the guy asked his brother, and he said, "I don't see nothing there but a bunch of weeds." And I saw a commercial building or whatever, but it turned out terrific. But he saw one thing, and I saw something else, and it's a use of our mind.
All right. Well, Don, thank you so much. I mean, what you've had to say, and people, my fans are loving it. My eZWay fam, and we're going to continue this on a digital perspective on the Wall of Fame, guys. So keep watching, keep listening, keep learning, and watch the growth, watch the positioning, watch what's happening. And Don, I'd love to have you on my stages. We keep this continuing. We produce a lot of stages. A lot of different, we're doing a lot of different digital, virtual game type things. And so we'll see what happens. And this has been, honestly, a blast. And again, shout outs to Schroeder for the awesome background music. Shout outs to Dana Hitter for all the graphics that you guys have seen. Denise Millay Brookhout for everything that she does. And guys, stay tuned because this will be on Roku, Apple, and Amazon. It'll be on our network. And there's lots more coming up. This does not end here. Don, you've been beyond fantastic. We really appreciate you, and we will be supporting you as best as we can. So, guys, without further ado, that was Don Green. Don, go ahead and I call this a digital handshake. Give him a little pound. Like go like this to the screen. Put your fist to the screen like this. That way they can put their fist. This is a new school thing. This is what younger people do. Take your fist like this. Take your hand. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Take your fist, put up to the screen like this, and you're giving our eZWay family a pound is what it's called. Or just go like this with your hand.
Give me just a second. I lost the picture. Okay.
Take like this.
I gotta click in. Okay. Just 1 second.
Oh, well, so guys, this has been a blast. You guys are awesome. I hope you guys really enjoyed this interview, and we're doing what's called the digital handshake effect right now, and we'll get Don to do it with you. And so just take go like this, Don, with your hand, or like this with your fist, and that way they feel like you're digitally shaking hands. But I guess that we're having a little technical difficulties. The devil's coming in. We got to outwit the devil, man. The technology's not working with us, but it's all good. Don, thank you so much for being on the eZWay Live. Last but not least, if I could ask you one more thing, I ask all my guests to do this. If you could please do me a favor and say, I'm Don Green, CEO of the Napoleon Hill Foundation, and I do it the eZWay. So I'm Don Green, Napoleon Hill Foundation, and I do it the eZWay. Would you mind doing that?
No, I'm Don Green. I'm CEO.
Okay, hold on. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3, go.
Yes, I'm Don Green. I'm CEO of Napoleon Hill Foundation, and I do it the eZWay.
All right. Wow, that was awesome. Thank you so much, Don, for doing that. I appreciate that, brother. I look forward to doing more success moves and creating stepping stones for people to step on. Again, guys, go to eZWayWall.com. You see it right there, and connect with Don Green, and let's support his foundation. Let's support what he's doing. And thank you to Bill Brown. Thank you to Theodosa. Thank you to Michelle. Thank you to Lila. Thank you to my dad. Thank you to everybody that tuned in, that was on live. Thank you to Jerry. All you guys, love you guys so much. Don't go away, because we do have another really big interview with the founder of Billionaires Elite. Okay, our next interview is going to be with the founder of Billionaires Elite. We also have some, we're slowly booking a lot of interviews, so this is not going to stop. Love you guys. And so again, this is eZWay, and let's go ahead and end it the way that we always end the eZWay. I don't know if you guys know, but I do rap. I do kind of freestyle off the top of the head, so I don't know if you guys can hear the music. But if you can, let's have some fun. All right, so here we go. Ready? Okay, yeah, it's on. All right, yeah, I had to come up with a song. Got my man Don, gave you an interview. But you know what? I gotta say, bye, everybody. It was too much fun, but I'm sorry we're done. Have so much fun with the books. And you guys give me comments and no dirty looks, but hey, outwitting the devil. They can't step to our level. No way, easy. No way you can't watch the TV. Loving you guys and what this guy does to make a difference. But you know what? I'm telling you, it's about... I tried. I got to practice on this other thing. But, anyway, guys, I love you guys. Thanks so much. eZWay fam all day long. So that was Don Green. I'm going to give him another round of applause. Let's give Don Green another round of applause for this awesome interview. And so remember, guys, we're doing the Golden Promoter. So if you want to support this interview, you want to press the share button, you want to push it out there, we're looking for that person that's the top promoter of this interview.
eZWay Broadcasting presents the Golden Promoter Award. In recognition of your drive, resilience, and heart in helping our cause.
You're watching eZWay TV, powered by eZWayNetwork.com. All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and say goodbye. Thank you so much. I love you guys. Can't wait to see how many shares we get and the watch parties. And again, thank you to Don. This has been awesome. So stay tuned for the next interview. Go to eZWay.live. That's where all my interviews are going to be, eZWay.live. Text the word eZWay to the number 55678. eZWay to 55678 if you want to get connected and get text notifications. And stay tuned, because we got lots more coming up, guys. Keep doing it the eZWay.